Okay, so I've got a rough idea now of the overall envelope of my building, and so I want to start planning out my areas with a little bit more detail in the interior. And so a really good tool for that you have built into Revit is this area plan tool. So you'll see there in the room and area panel, you've really got two different kinds of tools. You've got the room tools, which are on the left, so you've got rooms and room separators, and they have their uses, particularly if you are interested in programs like Ecotect. I don't know if you've seen that. It's a funny one. It was actually developed in Wollongong, and then Autodesk bought the company that developed it, and I think they've moved them over to America now. But it's a really good environmental analysis program, so it's now part of the Autodesk suite. And so it uses rooms. So you put these room objects inside your walls, and they generate these volumes that then can be analysed for environmental properties. And so for things like that, rooms are really useful. But then I find people use them a little bit too much for simple things like areas, when there are actually better ways of doing it. And I think one of the best ways is using areas. So that's the other type of tool you have there. So you've got rooms on one side, and these first three tools are all associated with rooms. And then areas are a completely different kind of object. And so you have the different tools for that with the yellow icons. And so to use areas, they're a bit different to rooms in the way that they show up. You don't put them in your regular plans, you create special area plans. And so by clicking on that area panel, you can then just choose area plan, and it'll bring up all of the views that don't, so all of the levels that don't have an associated area plan already. So you've got two different kinds of area plans. You've got gross building and rentable. And I think for this one, rentable probably is going to be the better option, because we're going to be looking at interior areas. And then I'm just going to start with ground floor and maybe levels 1, 2 and 3. Can add any of the others later. And clicking OK, it'll ask me if I want to automatically create boundary lines associated with the external walls. So I'm going to say yes, I do, because I have got some external walls, and it's just going to ask me that for each plan that I'm creating. So there we are. So that's created an area plan for each of those levels, and if you scroll down, having done this in your project browser, you'll see then that there's a new category there, area plans. I'm going to go back to my ground floor area plan, and then it's going to zoom in to show you the boundaries. So you get these purple or magenta lines, which are your boundaries, and you can easily then add your own. So now you can see on this room and area panel that I've got tools available that weren't there before. So if you click on the little down arrow there under area, you can see now that I can create areas. That wasn't available before. And also now I can create area boundaries. So I'm just going to make a new area boundary and draw a rectangle around my core area. And then I'm going to define maybe a couple of other areas. So over here. And okay, so I've drawn a rectangle there. I don't need two boundaries over here on the left, so I'm just going to delete one of those lines so that they're not overlapping. Oh, no, sorry, it actually had trimmed it for me automatically. So just got to watch out for that. These automatically generated area lines will sometimes do things for you, so that's okay, that's already trimmed. And then I'll go and draw some more area boundaries. So maybe I'll have 5 stairs at the end here. So just drawing lines. You can actually have overlapping area boundaries, unlike a lot of things in Revit. And maybe I'll have, I don't know, some sort of amenities room. I might try and avoid having the fire stairs. I suppose, you know, you can have fire stairs open to an internal area if the travel distance to the outside isn't too great. But it's probably better if I can move those over, but for now I'll just leave them there in the middle. And maybe just one more over here. Okay, so that might be a rough plan, and then I might decide, well, actually that area needs to come back to here. And I'll just trim those lines together. So it's all 2D. And now what I can do is actually calculate those areas. So going back to the area panel, I'm just going to choose area. And you can see there that it's picking up the boundaries that I've defined and giving me the square metres for each of those. So as long as the boundary is enclosed, and you don't need to be as careful as you are with a lot of other things in Revit, because Revit will often join those boundaries together for you and also align them with walls and things like that. So they're pretty easy to work with. So you can see there I've quickly generated those different areas, and now I can tag those. So going back to also going to the Annotate tab, you'll see then you've got this option for Colour Fill Legend. Now I'm going to just crop this. I've got a little bit too much showing there, so I'm just going to crop that view and bring it back just to show the floor plan. And I might hide a lot of those exterior elements as well. Just to clean that up. Actually, I haven't toggled my massing off, so I'll toggle those. There we go. And don't need sections either, or even property boundaries. So the area plans can be fairly stripped back. Don't need any of these views showing. Okay, so that'll just give me some room to put in my legend. So back on the Annotate tab, you've got this Colour Fill Legend, which is a really useful tool actually. If you haven't used that one, it works with lots of different things. Okay, so if I choose that, I'm just going to place it over to the side, and then it's going to give me some options there. Just want to make sure it's on areas rentable, and you probably won't have too many choices there anyway. You'll only have one scheme as well at first, so I can just leave it on scheme 1. Okay, so let's put the same colour in for all of those areas. Now I'm going to go and give them different names. Okay, so I'm going to call this core, and then this can be office, and this will be amenities. Let's spell amenities. Anyhow, this can be kitchenette. And then this can be foyer. Okay, so then if I select that legend and go to Edit Scheme, all I need to do now is change the colour option to name. And then I'll click OK with that option there, and it's going to detect those names that I've given, and it's going to assign random colours. You can change those to any colour you like, but I'm happy with the random ones for now. So I'm just going to click OK, and you can see then I've got this colour-coded plan with an automatic legend. I'm going to go and add another area, so back to architecture. I'm going to go to area again, just place one here, change the name, and we'll call this 5-step. So you can see it's got its own colour, and then over here now it's added a new entry in the legend. So it's that easy. And so it's a really good way of doing those block plans to do your schematic layouts. When you put walls and other things in, they'll show over the top of those, and you'll still have the areas there. And the reason I think they do work a lot better than rooms, you'll see once you've got the walls in there that the rooms will go in pretty automatically. But you can see even from that little video that's playing that the rooms areas are calculated from the inside of the walls. And so you don't have much control then over the area that it's defining. But with the areas, you define the areas that it's working with. And that's really important when you're planning things out, because if you give your client a total floor space and then give them a breakdown of that with all the different areas it's divided into, and it doesn't add up, they're going to wonder where the extra floor space has gone. But this way, of course, the area boundary is the edge that you've defined, and then you can determine where the wall's going to go on top of that. So I find them more intuitive in many ways than rooms, and you don't even have to have the walls and other things as well just to start doing your planning. So really easy to adjust. You can just select a boundary there and obviously move that. You can see there I've even got it slightly to one side, and it's okay. It's still detecting that area. So I might just extend that.
Is there a way of, see how you've got the metre squared there, is there a way of changing out some room tags? People like to see it in metre by metre. A lot of people, when you see a layout, say on a real estate plan, and the bedroom is 4.5 by 4.5.
Oh yeah. No, well, you could possibly come up with a formula that could do that. But yeah, you'd have to look at the tag itself and see. So I'll show you how you get to the tag, because sometimes I know people want the areas taken off, and this actually will time with what I wanted to show you later today. It's a family, so that tag there is area Oz for Australia, and so obviously there are other tags for different regions. So if we edit that, you can see the family name, the type is the same, which is a bit confusing, but all we need to know is the name of that family. So if you go down to your family section, and then in annotation symbols, you should be able to find the area tag. You can right click on that and go to edit, and then you can see how that family is defined. And so, so it is a label, and so let's see how it's... so that's a pre-supplied label, which you probably can't edit. Just wondering if they've got... Yes, they've got perimeter. No, they don't have the dimensions. No, so look, the only way you could do that, what you're saying is doing some programming. So dimension it, and then text box, that's right, yeah. But still, it's handy just to get those areas, if nothing else. Because, actually, that's the last thing I'll just say there. When you're doing any application, you need to have your floor space calculations. And a lot of people struggle even to get those in Revit, because with the again with the rooms, it'll give you those interior areas only. But to do your floor space calculations, you need to go to the outside face of your walls usually, and also then calculate or take out things like voids in certain cases and things like that. And so the rooms won't work for that, but areas always will. Okay, so really useful tool. Hopefully that'll help you with your schematic drawings. And like I said, later today we'll look at families and go a bit further with those other things. But just make sure you realise again that you'll need to do that for all of the levels where you want those areas. And so I promise the very last thing I'll show you there, just to make it easier for you, I've got some settings in this view that I want to then transfer to level 1. I don't want to have to go and do all of that again. So if I right click on that that view name, I'm going to go create view template from view, And so I'll just do that again. It's in the middle of it. Great. Let's just do that again. Here we go. Create view template from view. There we are. And I'll give it a name. I'm going to call this area plan St George. And click OK. Now I can go to level 1, right click, and then apply template properties and choose that view template. Click OK. Right, so that's done most of the work. I still need to hide these things because I hid them by element. But everything else there now is set up the same way ground floor was. Ready to do on your areas.